There are people who come into your life not to love you, but to challenge your sense of self-worth. They wear a charming mask, speak in mesmerizing tones, but behind it all lies an insatiable thirst for power. They are narcissists. They don't enter your life to build a relationship, but to turn you into the stage upon which their inflated ego performed. And the moment you begin to question them, when you stop reacting according to the script they've carefully written, is the moment they walk away. Cold, ruthless, without a single explanation. But don't let their departure deceive you into believing you're unworthy. You weren't discarded because you weren't enough. You were discarded because you began to awaken. And to a narcissist, awakening means a loss of control. In their world, your silence is rebellion, your calmness is retaliation, and the boundaries you set are a declaration of a freedom they cannot tolerate. In today's video, I won't just tell you the things narcissists absolutely despise. I'll help you understand why those very things are your most powerful inner weapons to break free from the cycle of manipulation, reclaim your autonomy, and step into a new chapter as a sovereign soul, not just a survivor. This isn't a battle for revenge, it's a journey back to the sacred truth of your original worth. They fear your indifference. Have you ever wondered what truly terrifies a narcissist? It's not your tears, not your pleading, and certainly not the silent sacrifices you once offered. It's your cold indifference. Narcissists feed on attention, draining others' emotions like a leech starved for blood, and when you deny them the one thing they crave most, you shatter the very world they built for themselves. Try not reacting, not engaging, not diving into the chaos they so carefully orchestrate. Your silence and composure become not just a shield, but a punch straight into the illusion of power they cling to. This isn't a game for the faint of heart, but if you dare to play it, you'll witness their panic as they lose the throne they crown themselves upon. Imagine the narcissist as a deranged director, needing an audience to make their performance meaningful. Every time you cry, scream, or try to explain, you hand them a VIP ticket to keep the show going. They're addicted to the chaos they stir within you. It's fuel, it's proof they still own you. But when you choose to ignore them, when you refuse to dance to their twisted tune, you don't just unplug the stage, you set the whole script on fire. Your silence isn't surrender. It's a declaration that you are no longer their puppet, no longer the supply they feed off. They will panic, scream louder, throw every trick they know to drag you back. But if you stay firm, you'll watch their inflated ego deflate like a balloon pricked with truth. This is the power you never knew you had. Your calm is the sharpest blade, severing the strings they use to bind you. They're not afraid of your hatred. They fear your indifference. They fear no longer having a say in how you feel. When you ignore them, you're not just protecting yourself, you're exposing the fact that their power was always a facade. They are dependent, clinging to your reactions to feel alive. And when you take that away, they're no longer master manipulators. They're just empty shells, desperately clawing for a control they've lost. So make indifference your art. Don't respond to provocation. Don't justify. Don't let them drag you into their storm. Every time you remain silent, you build a wall between yourself and their toxicity, not to hide, but to declare that you deserve peace. Subscribe to this channel so we can go deeper into how silence becomes your greatest weapon against a narcissist, and share your story in the comments. I want to hear how you watch them crumble in the face of your calm. This is your time to reclaim your power, not by fighting, but by walking away with your head held high. They fear your boundaries. Clear boundaries are not just a defense mechanism. They are a declaration of sovereignty. For a narcissist, that is a direct hit to the core of their identity. They operate in a distorted world where relationships only have meaning if they are in total control. When you say no, firmly, without flinching, you are not just rejecting a request, you're dismantling the power structure they've been building since day one. In the narcissist's mind, you are not an independent person, you are an extension of them. A supply to be used, manipulated, and controlled. So every time you draw a boundary, you awaken a truth they're terrified to face, that you have your own identity, that you don't belong to them, and that they do not have the right to define your worth. They won't accept this quietly. They will attempt to infiltrate your defenses in every way: emotional manipulation, guilt trips, pleading, or fake remorse. They'll say things like, "You've changed," "I'm no longer a priority," or "You've become so cold." But don't let these words distract you. Their discomfort isn't proof you're wrong. It's confirmation you've finally done something they can't control. From a psychological perspective, this is known as boundary dysregulation, a clear hallmark of narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissists are incapable of respecting the inner world of others. When confronted with boundaries, they don't see it as a personal choice. They perceive it as a direct threat to their inflated sense of self. And they will do everything they can to drag you back into a manageable state, soft, vulnerable, easy to manipulate. But you're not that person anymore. Every time you stand firm in your boundaries, you're reinforcing your self-respect. Boundaries aren't walls that block love. They are the foundation upon which real love can exist. Love without respect is counterfeit, and anyone who cannot honor your limits does not deserve a place in your life. Remember this: no is a complete sentence. You owe no explanation, no apology for protecting yourself. Because when you learn to set boundaries, you are not just keeping others out, you are inviting your true self back in. And that, more than anything, is what true freedom looks like. They fear being cut off from the supply that feeds their distorted ego. Have you ever thought that flattering a narcissist, even with just a small compliment, might satisfy them and make them go easier on you? That's a big mistake. A narcissist doesn't just want validation, they survive on it, like an addict craving their next fix. Every compliment, every nod, every emotional reaction you give is fuel poured into their inflated ego, keeping their illusion of power burning. But what happens when you refuse to feed the monster? When you stop flattering them, stop responding to their desperate need for affirmation, they don't just feel lost. They panic, disoriented, like a machine that's just been unplugged. This is the moment you hold real power, not by confrontation, but by cutting off what they need most to survive. Picture the narcissist as an emotional beggar, constantly holding out their hand for your attention and admiration. They expect you to elevate them, whether through direct praise or subtle submission. That's how they maintain the illusion that they are the center of the universe. But when you stop clapping, when you no longer bow to their grandiose performance, you collapse the world they built around themselves. They'll try harder, brag louder, demand more, even provoke you to get a reaction. But if you stay firm, if you refuse to toss even a crumb of validation their way, you'll see them flail like a child who just lost their favorite toy. Their ego cannot stand on its own. It needs you, and when you withdraw, they fall. Here's the truth you must engrave in your heart. Refusing to feed their ego isn't just a tactic. It's a declaration of your worth. You are not here to serve as the launch pad for their delusions of grandeur. Every time you withhold praise, every time you resist the urge to soothe, you remind yourself that you are not a tool for their use. Yes, they will panic because losing you means losing their main fuel source, losing the mirror that reflects the perfect image they desperately want to see. But that's not your problem anymore. You owe them no validation, no emotional presence just so they can feel important. They're not confused because you're cruel. They're desperate because you've finally stepped out of their game. They fear your confidence. Unshakable confidence is the light that exposes the narcissist's shadows. They don't fear strength or skill. They fear someone who knows their own worth and doesn't need external validation to feel complete. In the narcissist world, power only exists when the other person doubts themselves. They manipulate by planting seeds of insecurity. You're overthinking, you're too sensitive. No one else would put up with you. Every phrase is carefully designed to erode your self-esteem from within, forcing you to look back to them for the affirmation you once gave yourself. But when you begin to radiate confidence from within, you starve their hunger for power. You no longer fall into the trap of needing them to feel valuable. You stop reacting wildly to their withdrawal, stop trying to prove yourself when criticized, stop feeling small when you're not praised. You see through their tricks and you smile, not from weakness, but because you're no longer a piece on their board. From a psychological standpoint, true confidence is nothing like arrogance. Confident people don't need to boast. They don't need to declare their value. They embody it. And this, more than anything, unravels a narcissist's control, because confident individuals don't play the savior role. They don't engage in the right versus wrong. War, and most importantly, they cannot be swept into the emotional vortex the narcissist creates to manipulate. That kind of confidence is built day by setting boundaries, by listening to your inner voice, rather than chasing outside approval. You start trusting your own intuition instead of being steered by clever words. You stop asking, am I too sensitive? And start saying, my feelings are valid, and I don't need anyone's permission to feel them. The narcissist will react. They'll mock you, belittle you, try to pull you back into the fragile state they once controlled. But remember, the more they react, the clearer the sign that you're on the right path. Confidence isn't a destination. It's a journey you walk each day with compassion for yourself. And once you are firmly rooted in that internal strength, no narcissist can shake you. You're no longer prey in their psychological game. You're the one holding the board, playing your life on your terms. 5, they fear your success without them. What does a narcissist want most from you? Not love, not connection, but the belief that you can't live without them. They've planted the idea in your mind that you are dependent, that every success and every joy in your life must orbit around them like planets around the sun. But what happens when you break that illusion? When you rise, grow independently, achieve success, and build healthy relationships without a trace of their presence, that's not just a personal victory, it's a slap in the face to their inflated ego. It challenges their delusion of being the center of your universe and makes them feel meaningless, small, like dust blown away by the wind. Imagine the narcissist as a self-appointed prison warden who wants you to believe they hold the only key to your freedom. They need you to cower in the corner, to see them as the sole source of light in the darkness they created. But when you flip the switch yourself, when you create a brilliant life, thriving in your career, surrounded by loving friends, and genuinely happy without their permission, you don't just escape the chains, you shatter the throne they built for themselves. They panic when they see you, smile without them. They're confused when you succeed without their guidance. Why? Because your independence is living proof that they are not the center. They're just a fading shadow you've outgrown. This is the power you need to claim. Your success and happiness don't require them as a measuring stick. Every step you take forward, a project completed, a sincere relationship, a morning you wake up smiling without forcing it, is a dagger to their illusion of control. They wanted you to believe you'd crumble without them, that you'd always fail unless they propped you up. But when you prove the opposite, when you live better, brighter, stronger without them, you don't just reclaim your life, you expose the truth that they were never the giver of value, they were the leech feeding off the value of others. Let your life be your declaration. Don't succeed to make them jealous. Succeed because you deserve it. Don't find joy to make them angry. Be joyful because it is your right. Every healthy relationship you build, every smile you rediscover, is proof that you never needed them to survive. You were born to shine with your own strength. They may feel meaningless as they watch you soar, but that's not your burden. That's the price they pay for living off the control of others. You are the living proof that true happiness doesn't come from a narcissist. It begins with you and only you. Live, grow, and let them face the emptiness they tried to escape through you. 6, they fear your self-control. Have you ever noticed how a narcissist always tries to drag you into emotional chaos where drama reigns? Confusion thrives and you're spinning in the storm they orchestrated. They provoke with cutting words, dramatic breakdowns, or cold silence, all designed to make you lose control, to make you yell, cry, or justify. That's their battlefield because they know. When you're emotionally unbalanced, you're easier to manipulate. But here's the secret to defeating them. Maintain your calm in the eye of the storm. When you don't react the way they expect, when you stand firm like an immovable fortress, you not only protect yourself, you terrify them because you've taken back the control they crave. Picture the narcissist as a mad director who needs you to play the lead in their twisted drama. They create chaos, one day an explosion of rage, the next a sweet apology, just to pull you in to make your emotions burn in the direction they want. But when you stay calm, when you look them in the eye with composed detachment, refuse to step onto their stage, you destroy their script. They expect your collapse, your panic, because that's when they can shatter your will. But your calm is a steel wall they cannot breach. It doesn't just confuse them, it diminishes them. A chaos-fueled manipulator cannot survive when their opponent stands grounded and unshaken. Calm is more than a shield. It's the inner strength that protects your boundaries. When they attack, when they try to drag you into their emotional mess, your composure lets you see every trick clearly. The disguised lies, the subtle blame, the pity traps they lay. You don't get swept away. You rise above, observing, choosing from clarity rather than reacting from pain. Every time you breathe deeply and refuse to react, you're not just holding your line, you're declaring that they no longer define you, no longer have the power to drag you down. Let calm be your armor. Don't let them bait you into a battle you cannot win with tears or words. When they scream, stay silent. When they provoke, smile gently and walk away. Calm is not weakness. It is the mark of a soul that has been forged in fire, a will that cannot be broken. It gives you true power, the power to choose how to live, how to respond, and how to protect your peace. You don't need to scream to prove your strength. Your stillness says it all. Stand firm in the storm, because when you do, you don't just survive, you win. Through clarity, grace, and unshakable resolve. When you stand firm in the storm with unshakable calm, you don't just survive the narcissist, you rewrite your own story with sharp, proud, and indelible strokes. They may continue to sow drama and reign in the chaos of their own creation, but you have stepped off that stage. No longer a puppet pulled by their strings, no longer an audience applauding their twisted performance. You've become an unshakable fortress, a soul no longer swayed by provocation, no longer shrinking in the face of cruel silence, no longer questioning your worth because of the cheap tactics they throw your way. Your calm isn't just a triumph over them. It's a declaration that you have reclaimed the authorship of your life, breath by breath, decision by decision. Look back at this journey. They wanted you to collapse, to fall apart in the emotional storms they stirred, to remain a prisoner of their distorted validation. But you chose differently. You stood your ground. You didn't scream to prove your strength, didn't cry to earn their attention, didn't dive into arguments to prove yourself right. Instead, you chose calm, a quiet yet fierce power, a flame that didn't need to burn wildly to reduce their illusion of control to ashes. And in that calm, you found not just survival, but rebirth. A version of you that is clearer, stronger, and freer than ever before. This is the greatest gift you could ever give yourself. A life no longer puppeteered by someone who only knows how to love their own reflection. Your calm didn't just get you through the storm, it laid the foundation for rebuilding, for nurturing healthy relationships, peaceful days, and a future where you are at the center. They may remain in the chaos they created, but you've chosen to walk into the light. A light that needs no one's permission. A light you lit yourself with courage and an unmatched steadiness. You don't need them to shine, you are already enough. And that, more than anything, makes them the true loser. Hold on to this calm, not to prove anything to them, not to make them jealous, but to honor the value you know you deserve. They wanted you to fall, to stay in their shadow, but you chose to stand tall, head held high, walking a path that is entirely your own. That's how you didn't just survive the darkness they left, you transformed it into a launching pad. You rose higher, lived brighter, and loved yourself more deeply. You're not just a survivor, you are a warrior, a lighthouse, a living testament that no one defines you but you. And what's really fascinating to me, you keep shining, because that light isn't just a victory, it is your truest essence. It cannot be extinguished, it cannot be conquered.